What's up everybody, Brian Tong here. I just got out of the keynote inside Apple Park for WWDC 25. So yes, this is gonna be my first reactions from everything that was announced. Not everything, but a lot of the big ticket items. Hot takes, quick takes, we're gonna talk all about it. All right, so let's talk about liquid glass. This is Apple's all new design. And I'm gonna say there are a lot of oohs or ahs. I was genuinely more impressed than I thought going in. We've seen the rumors, we've heard about, oh, visionOS-inspired, a glassy look, translucent layers, but I think this whole new tagline or name that Apple's using, liquid glass, it feels more alive than I expected. They showed how when you pulled on different areas of the screen, some of the animations of, right, the sizing of the little menu bars, even just the morphing of how your lock screen has a time, and then depending on what type of background or picture you use, that time, the width of the font or the length of it will adapt as it goes. So there is some level of an organic feeling to this liquid glass, but I do love this priority of having it, these almost look like glass gems on top of what we've seen, prioritizing a lot of the information and the screen below it. But I will say, when you talk about all the differences across all the apps in this liquid glass design, it's gonna be really nice. And the first thing I said over, to John, my producer, we're like, a lot of people are gonna love this. We're gonna love this, and it's gonna feel like, this is the thing, feel like a new phone in a whole lot of ways. Even though it's the same phone, it's gonna feel a lot different. If we're talking about this new design, Apple's also really leaning into simplifying some of the apps. We talk about something like the camera app, right? Basically, the screen you first see, you can select between photo and video. You have the ability to swipe up and then get access to your different settings and options, which have, again, that liquid glass type design, but a real simplification and cleaner look to the camera app. We look at something like Safari now, where you have the search bar or the URL bar essentially floating on top of the page, which then again really showcases the content. You see through the glass. That translucent effect, although you might think, oh, does it make a big difference? I think subconsciously, when I see things behind that glass layer, it makes it feel more open. It makes it feel more wide. And so this is not only gonna help, not only with our phone, but I really think in larger screen devices, things like the Mac, things like Apple TV, this is where I feel like liquid glass design, you're gonna start seeing it in those ways and makes more of an impact on those larger screens. We're jumping around here. There's no way I'm gonna be able to cover everything, but we still wanna focus on the whole liquid glass design. Let's talk about CarPlay. I did not expect to see much about CarPlay, but again, they're taking these, they like to use the wording a lot, specular highlights, right? The edges of the glass, just shining and glimmering and glowing. I don't know, I think if there was a drinking game, and we heard the word specular quite a few times, Apple, I know we did, but it was nice to see a little information about CarPlay. They did allude to CarPlay Ultra, and I did have to laugh a little, only because we know there are gonna be more cars rolling out with CarPlay Ultra, but right now it's still the Aston Martins. You got an Aston Martin? You're in luck, but if not, you're gonna be like, okay, well, we'll just have to wait for manufacturers to keep on rolling that out. I do want to go back and touch upon tvOS because there was a little nugget, not only with the design, but if you've seen some of my videos, I think it was about 2.5 years ago, I talked to Apple directly, like the little product manager reps, and I said, hey, see these phones? Why can't we use these phones as a microphone to do karaoke with the Apple Music playing on Apple TV? I don't know if you saw it, they did it. They did the damn thing. I think they should have marinated on a little bit, show feature, but if we're gonna throw a party sometime soon and you got your mic and I got my mic with an iPhone, come on y'all, Apple, they listen. I do the ear because they listen. I'm not gonna take credit for that feature, but I'm gonna take credit for that feature, okay? So that was really fun to see there as well. Also, let's talk about macOS. This is, to me, from a design perspective, I got excited about this. Again, it might sound like I'm being repetitive, but something like Control Center, where you look at that and you see all the buttons now in this glassy, specular way, I thought it looked really nice. The cool thing, the menu bar on top of macOS, it's not completely gone, but the bar atop is gone. You just see these icons floating on top. That, even though it's like that, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, it makes your display feel bigger, focusing on the content in front of you. So I don't know what you all think about design. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I love to hear what you have in the comments, but I think this liquid design initiative and the fact that is coming across all of their OSs and all their devices, a lot of the things that we have in this ecosystem are gonna feel like a new ecosystem. I will also say watchOS, smallest screen, liquid design. What they showed us, it's there around, some of the smart stack. It's really subtle on watchOS, and before we came to WWDC, I felt like, yeah, it might not be the most impactful on this one. Okay, maybe let's talk a little less about design, but what was the most impactful OS release that we saw here at WWDC? Can you guess? It had to be the last thing they showed, iPadOS. They finally delivered what we have been asking for, I feel like, years on years. And what's clever about it is, yes, we've been asking like, hey, make the iPad more like a Mac. But what Apple did here is they gave it some of that Mac versatility. We have an all-new windowing system where, yes, you can use your apps like a full screen app all the time, but if you go down the bottom corner, they have what's called like a little grab handle. We saw this in visionOS where you can resize windows there. Here now, it's coming to the iPad, so you can have multiple apps, windows, different sizes, scattered throughout your iPad, and then also when you close them and reopen them, they retain their size and they retain their position. So I'm already saying, okay, as they're showing this, this is starting to feel a lot more Mac-like. Let's go to something like files and folders you have. You can actually drag them, right, the organization of the files, into the dock, click on it, and very Mac-like, right, you can see the files. They fan out vertically, just like they do on a Mac when you hold on to it. So look, I think that iPadOS, from just a navigation and UI standpoint, looks incredible for someone who has been begging for this. It is Mac-like, but I would never say you're taking exactly what the Mac does. So they still keep its identity while giving us the core features that we've been asking for. I love what I saw. Again, we're gonna have to wait to really get our hands on, but just the windowing, the versatility, being able to, similar to what we've had before, split two apps and then slide in between them to change the size. You can even do 4 corners of apps, just a lot of versatility there. And even cooler, you can connect your iPad into a larger screen, let's say like a TV. That is gonna give you more versatility there as well. But after seeing all of those demos, my brain instantly thinks, okay, we can do more windows. It might feel a little cramped, but I think we need a bigger iPad. And if that means a 15-inch iPad, if that means a 17-inch iPad, if that means a foldable iPad that starts small and then gets bigger and has this windowing, now we're talking, Apple. Now we are talking. A couple highlights. Again, we're gonna really dive into some of the specifics for each of the OSs in different videos, so you obviously gotta stick around the channel. But visionOS, I was expecting, to be surprised and wowed with visionOS. Just how is Apple thinking about it and how this implicates what they might do with future wearable type projects whenever those happen. And this is really interesting, right? Widgets have been a part of Mac OS DNA for years, like at least over a decade. And now in visionOS, they're implementing widgets, but in your living space, it saves and knows where they are, but also adding like a depth and 3-dimensionality where you could put a weather app on a wall. It's like recessed into the wall. You have things like your web browser, your photo gallery, but these widgets all around your house. We saw people here wearing Vision Pros, like casually, and it is, I get it, we're at WWDC. Dude was just like, hanging out. A guy had it around his neck, walking around almost like it was like a chain or something. But there is a passion for the visionOS and Apple Vision Pro community, and I thought the widgets thing was really clever. They also added some really cool spatial features. I think what's neat though for content creators, they're now in partnership with companies like GoPro and Insta360 and others, being able to natively display 360 video that we record, put you in the world that we have shot. Let's say I'm surfing or snowboarding. You get, I guess, like about a 180-degree view, but you can move around in that world. That is coming to visionOS 26 as well. So they're doing little, like, incremental improvements, but giving this a lot more versatility. I like what they're doing. It's not a game changer. It doesn't mean someone's gonna buy one for $3,500, but they're showing us the path forward with visionOS. Also, I think the biggest thing that was across all of these different OSs, translation. Now this might be slept on, but Apple, if you paid attention to the keynote, they mentioned translation at least at every OS, and even at the end, they made it a point to bring it up. And why is this important? You might not think about it as the sexiest feature, but I really feel doing video conference chats, even from people from other countries, family members, and having that live translation is gonna be really impactful. The ability for them to open that API and let third-party apps access that and use it. So we're talking about everything from WhatsApp to, Zoom to WebEx, all these different communication type platforms have access to that. That is literally going to open up a world that people just haven't been able to have access to. So I love the translation stuff. I also love the fact that it's going to be integrated on the phone. And let's say close to real-time translation, or at least a few moments to hear what I say, and then give the person on the other side of the call what I'm telling them in their own language. So translation, I think this is a big thing moving forward, subtle, but big at the same time. So yes, we are not gonna be able to cover every single thing in this video, but I really wanna hit the big points, right? Obviously, Liquid Design. In case I forgot to mention it, yes, all the OSs are moving to the number 26. iOS, iPadOS, macOS, tvOS, watchOS, visionOS. Did I get them all? And translation integrated across all those different OSs. And then finally, the most impactful, the biggest announcement to me had to be iPadOS. I mean, it took 3, 4, 5 years. I gotta look at my watch. Like, how many years ago did I want this? We finally got it, and I can't wait to play with it and what it means for the future of iPad as well. So stick here on the channel, plenty more in-depth coverage of each of the OSs and all the other things I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna be here for the next 3 days. I've got some briefings to go with, so you know what it is, WWDC 25. Thanks so much for watching. Come back now, we'll be here, all right? Peace and love.